Oh, it's 57. Oh my God, episode 57. Hero Labs Live. Welcome back, everybody. It is a crazy day. I have barely moved since waking up at 5 a.m. It just locked in, baby. It's hot right now. And we got Dave Millett coming in from a Walmart parking lot in Eastern Canada. Shout out to Dave.
What commitment? Seriously.
Pot committed, keeping it real. And we got Yankee watching live. Great to have you back, Yanks. Linus, the Andy Matt. I don't recognize your name, so welcome to the stream. So good to have you with us. And we've got Scotty. Old Scotty don't. Can stop asking about Aeon now. Yeah, is it going up? I did notice a little pop in Aeon.
If it's not going up now, when's it going to go up?
No, I did notice a little pop. Yep, it's up to 500 sats off a floor of about 350. So that's a decent little bottom gainer. And you know me, guys, not rushing in to chase the bottom pop as much as the pullback to something from that. And it works for me. It works really well, actually. And as hard as it is not to FOMO on certain coins today, I've got a list that we put together on Monday, and I actually curated it even more. I went through it sort of on my own over the next day or two and found a few other little things that I wanted to really even squeeze that list. Because even a list of 20 out of whatever it is on Binance now, 300, is still too big. It's too many. I don't want to go all in or, all in long on 20 coins. But I want to find 2 to 10 that I can take long positions on for what I expect will be at least a couple of weeks of decent rallies. And essentially they're going to be counter trend rallies for now. They're going to be retracing upwards what we just lost on a lot of alts versus Bitcoin. That's what I think might happen. That's what I think is the overwhelming probability right now. And I'm going to play it. And we've got lots to share today, lots to look at. And I think we just need to take a breath, man. I haven't just had a moment today where I just went, just got to keep focused. And I'm really glad to hear that a few guys are in here from the trading pit that maybe haven't joined before. Ping pong. What? Couldn't fully play it. Oh, ping pong. I don't know what. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ping pong. Okay. Thanks, Linus. He's asking about a ping pong, fib pong, basically. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. It's basically a new setup that I've seen before. I've analyzed it before, but I've never traded it, and I haven't really vetted it as a setup. And I traded it on XRP last night, and it worked great. I'm actually still in the trade for 50% of my position. Added on the dip and just stop loss break even. So if XRP moons while we're on stream, you're going to hear some screaming and yelling and excitement and party face. Anyhow, how's it going, Nick? Sorry, big rant.
Good, man. Just, endless action calls. There's so much stuff going on in this space right now. Find your vertical and stay in your lane.
Yeah, no, things are buzzing again in the pre-sale space. Although, to be honest, they never really stopped. I think the adrenaline and the dopamine left the market. But, I mean, we were... Yeah, I don't mind. Family, friends, they enjoy my company. So it's nice to have a moment. But they're not going to see me today. Probably not going to see me tomorrow. And they didn't see me yesterday. There's just certain times when you got to go. And actually, you taught me that, Nick.
Yeah.
There were certain days where I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out for dinner. You're like, why are you going out for dinner? Ethereum pumping. And I'm like, shit, you're right. I really need to realize that my livelihood to some extent depends on market volatility. So when it's there, I've got to be there. I got to sit and I got to focus and I got to, I got to put the blinders on to some things. And
essentially, these markets are going sideways and chopping 90% of the time. So take that time to go spend it with your family and loved ones and walking your dog. But when volatility is here, goodbye.
Yeah. Close the door, lock it in.
Consider yourself single.
Think, honey, if you're watching this, I still love you, and I will see you soon. Okay, so let's pull up the charts. I think it would be suitable to talk about Bitcoin because it is approaching the all-time high, and if that happened live on stream today, that'd be fabulous. I don't think it will. It just seems, if it is going to, I think it's going to. I really do. It's 19.1 right now. The chart I'm looking at. Let's pull it up. And I really would rather have you do the high time frame overview. So I'll give you that, but I would just want to show everyone what I'm looking at for the moment.
Sure.
and then maybe you could take us through some of the majors. So because of how pivotal this level is, like just what's going on with Bitcoin, I am literally, zoomed in on the 5 minute, which is not something I normally do. As you guys know, I'm more of a 4 hour kind of daily or 1 hour trader. But we're in 5 minute territory. We're up here at this. First of all, okay. There's a trend channel. And that thing has been working really nicely. I saw it on Twitter and I thought, oh, cool. So I drew it up and, it fits. You draw it off pivot 1, draw it off pivot 2, and you drag the third up to the high that made the pre-pivot, and then it kicks out the rest of this. And you can see price respecting these levels. Even this morning on that little push up, the bears got pretty excited, tried to run a swing failure pattern, which is where they grab liquidity and then dump it. And they did, but only a scalp, really. And it kind of came in here and bounced right off this level, which I guess really is support now. So I can change that. And if we get a 4 hour close below this white line, right? Below this, that's new market structure, right? You have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high. That would be a lower low, probably take us down to range low, or excuse me, channel body, channel trend channel low. Okay. But we didn't. We bounced really nicely. And, there's not a lot of information there for me today. So what I've been doing is just kind of having it on one of my screens here on the 5 minute. And you can see, playing with the fibs. I think right here at that key level, we made a new low. MACD did not make a new low. Some bullish divergence in there. Then we bounced up. So I'm just watching this. If we lose this level, actually, I'd like an alert on that. So 18813. I'll put that on right now with my 813 trusty trading view alerts. Let's say breakdown question mark. I always like to throw a question mark in so I know when the alert comes what the hell I was thinking setting it. Reminds me of that.
Yeah. With the notifications, probably one of my most used features on TradingView.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I've got like 6 on my friggin' screen right now, and it just, it reminds me of what I'm supposed to be looking at. I mean, you can see here. So this is the short list I ended up with, right? We did on Monday, we did a red list. Nothing really made the red list. It was either shit or it was in the RLZ making divergences. The orange list is going to be really nice to look at, and sometimes things on the orange list do pop. We got eGold that moved up 12% today. We've got
Crypto.com moved 255% in the last 24 hours.
Oh my God. ONG, actually, a buddy of mine texted me, said like he's long on this. And I'm not surprised because that's his setup. He's a 786 trader and it didn't even reach the 786. I guess he front ran his own thing. But yeah, he texted me today. He's like, oh my God, ONG. So that's pretty dope. Congrats, Andrew from TRI. Really appreciate you shooting me over that alpha. He's got a few charts actually that we can actually pull up of his if you want, but
just tripping alpha.
Yeah. It's it's good to have people around you that are also doing this stuff so that you can all share ideas. Doc. So yeah, there's going to be ones on the orange list that pop. ZIL obviously didn't make the green list because it hadn't confirmed structure, and then it came out today and was like confirmation, except for it did it in like a 40% candle. So it happens. But then I went to this green list and I pulled. We got POA making moves today. Let's see. Syscoin broke out again to new highs. Really nice to see that. I know.
God, that's an old one.
Yeah, and apparently they have some stuff coming up maybe in December in the announcement chamber, and you can see this huge consolidation here. So there's like this vacuum here. So that's a 71% move even from this point, although it's a little late in this exact moment to be grabbing it. Anyways, I went through the green list and I just pulled the ones that I absolutely loved. So we're going to look through these today. I'm not filled on too many of them. I actually just, I got filled on Tomo this morning on this wick down. I got filled on Dia. This wick down here today filled me up. So, some of these filled me, some of these didn't. ARPA is playing hard to get. Could have maybe got that fill yesterday. I didn't have the bid working. Now I do. So we'll see. And OMG broke out today. Woohoo! So OMG's flying. So this list, they all look the same, but that's why I put them on the list. I want ones that look like this. BLZ, testing the highs. So yeah, lots of stuff going on today, guys. Really looking forward to diving into that in more detail. Let's check the chat.
Oh, it's pretty active in there.
Yeah. So I got a question. How much, how I split my portfolio, how much for LOL, how much for swing trades, how much for leverage? Yeah, it's a great question. We'll get to that in a sec. I feel like I've kind of taken over early, so I want to give Nick the stage here for a minute. He's going to do some high time frame looks because I actually get a lot of my high time frame analysis from Nick. Since we work together, can't play catch Tammy Daddy's yellow long poop coins. Okay. Chris Richards, shout out to that comment. You guys trading View Pro Premium. Yeah, Pro, look, if you're starting off, Pro's good. I use Premium because I got to a point where I wanted more alerts. You know, it allowed me to have 10, and I wanted to use the VPVR, which is this volume profile on the side. That's a premium feature. And there was one other that actually Pierce mentioned on Monday when he was on here talking about TradingView. Oh yeah, you can do this with Premium. Now, I don't actually use the 8-pane view very often, but I know some people who do, and they swear by it because you can just have like 8 of your shit coins on it at once, and you know, it's just kind of convenient. In fact, I should probably do this with this short list here, but neither here nor there. So anyways, that's a thought. It's up to you. You know, the nice thing is you can start with Pro, and if you feel like it's holding you back and you want to upgrade, you can just do that within the app, and it doesn't cost extra.
You can always go up. You can never go down.
That's right.
And that's a cancel.
Whatever you're going to do, though, I would seriously get the Black Friday deal this week. It's not like a sales pitch for the sake of a sales pitch. It's really just what every trader does. They all just wait.
Common sense.
It's common sense. Whatever you do, you wait all year. You don't pay. You just do monthlies. And then when the Black Friday comes, like I bought like a 2-year plan. Yeah, you know, it cost $1,300, but I haven't paid since. And I paid bottom dollar. So especially in like, you know, trading is about running a small business. You know, it's about being profitable. It's about, you know, so you want your costs to be as low as possible. TradingView is a tool you need. It's common sense. But yeah. Okay. So anyways, Nick, why don't you take us over to your charts?
Sure.
I really want to.
But first, I just want to answer. Yeah, we don't, you know, to answer GJ's question. Crypto Cobain, obvious OG, very successful in this space. He blessed us with some knowledge years ago, but I just pulled it up because, you know, I remember this stuff. This is an allocation pyramid that he put together. And
can you zoom on that?
Yes. Yeah. So anyways, this is an allocation pyramid. Generally, it's pretty solid. You know, 5% gambling, 15% high risk, 30% medium risk, 50% of capital for low risk stuff. Generally, I'd say if you follow something of this structure, you're going to be okay in terms of like preserving your capital and not risking too much. You know, your risk profiles will look a lot sexier in terms of like your total net worth and stuff in this space. So, you know, take a screenshot of this while it's here. Also, you can just Google Crypto Cobain pyramid. It's literally the first thing that comes up. I won't spend too much time on that. Thought I would just share that with you.
Yeah, and to translate that, what he asked specifically was about little old lady strategy, which is a little more passive, where you're just buying the very lows and then selling halves on doubles all the way up, taking those halves that you sold and buying more lows. So I would say that's your 50%. Yeah. And then the other thing you asked, you know, swing trades would be the medium risk. And then if you're doing anything to do with leverage, especially if you're new to leverage, 5%, 10%, like very small. Because chances are, even if you're a pretty good trader, if it's your first time playing with leverage, you're going to get burned a few times before you get good at it. And that was true for me. That was probably true for everybody. I don't think anyone just gets into leverage trading and just flies in and makes their best trades right away.
Mm-hmm. Time and experience and practice and literally every discipline in life. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. What are we seeing on Bitcoin, man? We're going to the fucking moon. We're going to so close to the highs here.
Yeah, like, you know, technically we are definitely at the moon right now. This is the weekly resistance. This is literally the final weekly resistance level here between this 9.2 block up to, you know, that 9.7, 9.8 level. I personally think it's insane that people are taking, you know, 100x, 50x positions at 9.2, 9.3. I'd much rather, like, once this actually breaks out, that's, you know, you're going to have confirmation. Things are going to be looking sexy. But for me, too much risk taking high leverage longs at this level. I'd much rather just wait. You know me. I'd much rather wait for the confirmation of breaking through the range and following the momentum, and not get chopped up in this range. We've had constant, you know, $300-400 swings back and forth. So yeah, key weekly level here. In terms of if we ever do see that pullback, the level to be watching 16.5 probably, right? And where is that from here? Oh, it's not even that far down, right? That's what's crazy. We're talking about a 15% dip. Not saying that's coming right now, but that's the next major untested support levels that I would be looking to buy if we did come down from these levels. But right now, again, momentum firmly in the bulls hands right now, even the daily. And see, this is why you never, looking at the Stoke here, this is why you never listen to the people. Oh, it's overbought. Well, look at that. It's been overbought for over a month. So good luck. Have fun shorting that. It got overbought October 21st. So you've been shorting since $13,000. Congrats, you're broke.
Which is why, as you guys watch, especially with the scan I did on Monday, it's important to use a lot of different tools and look for confluence. Yeah. You want to have a momentum indicator that's on your side. You want to have some market structure that's on your side. And then ideally you want to be in a place on the chart that's on your side, shorting from a high area, longing from a low area.
A position of strength?
Yeah, position of strength. We talk about it every day, right? You got to layer those things in. And that's why we're here to, convey as much of that as we can and help you guys learn some new tools and add them to your arsenal.
Yeah. And like on the short time frames, what I'm watching on Bitcoin, obviously we had this nice little swing failure pattern here at 19.5 and then sold down aggressively. The reason why we're seeing these aggressive moves like this is because people are getting over leveraged at this point. And that's what I'm saying. People are taking leverage trade. It's breakout trading at key resistance level is dangerous, right? And this is exactly why. So this is why we see these sharp moves. Everybody's getting long on the breakout, comes back down. What do people do? They immediately, they either get liquidated or they just sell off their position at a loss, which just adds that short-term sell volume, right? So, but right now, what we're looking for, Bitcoin needs to get above this 19.2 level. Otherwise, risking a very low time. This is a very low time frame, guys, 30 minutes. So don't give it too much weight. But yeah, there could be potential for a 30-minute head and shoulders there. Whether you're bull or bear, I'm agnostic towards it all. If I see a pattern, I don't ignore it. And, that's what I'm seeing there. So again, above 19.2, I think this looks pretty good for a retest about to 19.4, 19.5 level. If we see some resistance there, I'd probably be expecting a retest over this around this like 18.8 level, right? And we can see why this 18 level is pretty important to maintaining the current market structure and trend. So we bring this down to the hourly right now. Then we quickly draw up our throwbacks, right? We love our throwback levels. And sure enough, we can see here, look at that multiple support, a little wick down. That was just a little deviation, got bought up quickly, right? So that tells me that there's significant buy-side demand still here. We know this. Grayscale is purchasing like 1,000 BTC per day. That's already 10% or like 12% higher than the daily emission rate. So you pair that, times that by 10, however many other large entities are buying similar quantities, and you understand why this thing will not be, even if it does dip, it's going to get bought up very aggressively, right? The only reason for this to dip would be, say early holders taking profit, maybe miners getting unlocked from China and taking some profit to cover their bills, or the market makers just washing out the over leveraged traders. There's no reason for a long-term downtrend in Bitcoin at this point. The upside is guaranteed. I don't, people say don't speak in guarantees.
But it's true.
No, it is though. Like once you understand the supply and demand, mechanics
out of the bag.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Like the inflow is going to be much higher. If you read our newsletter, I was talking about that. We noticed that the gold ETF inflow was cratering, right? And the outflows were increasing. Well, where do you think that capital is going? I wonder, right? So there's a big transition. And like if we see those outflows continuing from gold and even capture 1% of that into Bitcoin, that's the equivalent of adding another 10 grayscales into on the buy side, right? So, short at your own peril long term. And I think the other, so again, as long as we hold this 18.8 level, looks okay, right? If we go down there, I would be expecting a drop back down to 17.7, something like that. But for now, what do we have here? Let's take a quick look. Is this short-term trend bearish? Well, no. Why? Well, let's take a look here. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Wow, interesting. Higher high, higher high, higher high, higher higher. wow, what's that say? Fucking uptrend, right?
Hello.
So yeah, so until we see this reverse, short term bull, right? So yeah. And then I guess we can take a quick look over here at Skew. I love this data. We always say this shit is institutionally driven, and the confirmation just keeps coming in. We have CME Bitcoin futures hitting an all-time high $1.8 billion volume with the open interest, 20% over that $1 billion mark already. This thing, it's pretty fucking clear what's going on at this point, and it's very difficult to ignore at this point. People are saying nobody's talking about Bitcoin. They're fucking crazy. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin, at least from the people that matter. Do we care about the guys with $200 looking to come to Bitcoin? No, we do not. The funding rates, I guess, are a little bit concerning. We did say, Bybit's actually 1.5 year high on those funding rates right now. Kraken also up there as well. So. And this is just indicative of this is the retail leverage side of this trade coming into place. So as these continue to increase on the retail inflow, and people are getting more leveraged, which very interesting that people are leveraging up at the highs.
It's weird, right? Yeah.
It's fucking classic human psychology.
And that's actually why I love the market and love trading. And I always say this, that human behavior en masse is actually incredibly predictable.
Oh yeah.
At the lows, everyone's talking about bearish shit and being depressed and not buying anything. And then those same people, or different group, but whatever, people are now leveraging up, discovering leverage trading at 19,300.
After prices increased 100% in what, 5 days for Ethereum?
Yeah. So it's kind of scary, but that's the easiest trade to make, right? It's easy to take an insano rip face long when you're rallying like crazy and at the highs. It doesn't take much emotional fortitude, but it naturally just doesn't work out that way. And snipers, market movers, they take full advantage of that.
Money is transferred from the.
And that's never going to change, really.
No.
I mean, that's the thing when the bubble popped and everyone's like, wow, those people got so wrecked, they're never coming back. I was like, I don't think the evolution of humans is going to change in the next 2 years. I mean, there will be people looking for a quick buck, looking for flips, looking for whatever, and they won't buy until we get a rally going, and there will be the rally. When they do, they'll come back and they'll buy the highs. And so we're seeing it again, and it's pretty incredible. So if you guys are here watching us, you've already taken the next step, which is looking a little deeper past the front end, past coin market cap and CoinGecko percentages just listed arbitrarily. Once you get into charts, and if you haven't already discovered this, I mean, TA does work, and it can work for you as a risk management tool, and it can give you an idea of how to sort of thin out the noise and find reliable setups that work. Even if they work 50% of the time, they just have to pay you 3 times as much as you lose when you don't win, and you're profitable. And then you have to work through, you have to work through the emotional pain of losing 50% of your trades. But therein lies the skill and the tricky part. And so
quick look here at Ethereum. Obviously, we've surpassed the 525,000 ETH deposit. At this point, people are just diluting their own yield, which is hilarious. But sure enough, in our newsletter, we called for a 620 tap, and we would see some resistance there. Well, look what happened. 620, and she nuked $50, right? This is just a key weekly level. At the end of the day, that's all it is, right? So as long as we're consolidating, this is an unconfirmed level, but I love pulling from the left. And if I see this flip to support, this 560, 550 level, I think downside is pretty much capped to here if we're going to see a trend continuation. If we do break this level, it'd be pretty concerning, to be honest. I think we'd be in for a deeper retrace, probably back down to this like 480, 488. The play right now on the long side is to either wait for a retest of these levels here for like a really nice, relatively low risk entry, or wait for a close above the 620 level, which then is going to give you a pretty much, I don't want to say a free trade, but you know how these range expansion moves work, right? You're going to be looking at a 15% upside trade up to 720, which is your next little weekly level here. And above that, well, you're looking at 785, 820, right? So how you could trade this, 2 trade setups, very easy, right? Kaboom, just like that. So you would be buying the 620 turn to support. Resistance flips is, I'll even draw a squiggly line. I'll
get the squigglies out, baby. Love the squigglies.
Let's do it. I got to figure out a better way to do it. Anyways, so say we come back down here. Oh my God, Ethereum is about to collapse. Nope, just going fucking up, boys. Sweeps this high here, sweeps this high here, flips this to support, higher low here, right? Confirmation, and she would go off to the races. And you would hit this target, right? At this point, you could kind of consider this a, say this is your first leg here, from here to here. This is your second leg here to here. And we could use, third leg measured move up to here, around that 722, 78, maybe even a little bit of overshoot into here or something. But that's what I would be looking for. So you're going to be getting a nice 14.5% trade there. And if it does overshoot, where do you think it's going? It's going up here, guys, right? Into this little block, possibly even to this wick. But you'll get another 10% off of that. So just wait for that 620 level to be reclaimed, and you're looking at a pretty easy low risk 20 to 25% upside on that. So that's kind of how I'm playing Ethereum. But until we see confirmation there's no fucking way I'm getting long in Ethereum with leverage at these levels. It's just not going to happen, guys. Why? Because look at the downside you're risking right now. So again, you're looking at 11% on 20x leverage, liquidated, 10x leverage, liquidated, right? So have fun holding that. Sure enough, what I thought was really funny, crypto loves to put in tops based off huge fundamental news. Yes. So think about when back launch on Bitcoin, you could take that thing down to the 5-minute chart. It was the top. It cratered like $3,000-$4,000 from there. Here, same thing. ETH 2.0 hits the threshold. All of a sudden, the buying demand, right, because they need 32 ETH to get into there, just stops. And sure enough, puts in a nice top, and the price has since nuked, what, 45, 50 bucks? And if we do see a drop below this key level right here, so this is your local level to be holding, around this like 474, 475. If we lose this, 95% confidence that we will be going to retest this block, right? It's only been tested once here, so I'm pretty confident that we would see a bounce at these levels. I think there's going to be a lot of resting liquidity at that point at levels as well. I don't have a heat map in front of me. What would I be looking for? So again, if we lose this low here, probably going to down she goes into this level here.
Panic, right? Yeah,
exactly. And then we can see. So now what's going to happen at that point? So the confirmation of the next long trade would be this level, this former support getting reclaimed. Otherwise, if it is bearish, it's going to bounce off this level because there's resting liquidity here. It would come up here. If this turns to resistance, then you would see it drop back down. Could even just range in here, right? Like that's not bad either. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Ethereum right now. I'm not rushing into a long at these levels.
No, and historically, January actually bottoms Ethereum bottoms in January. So if you look back on the charts, guys, if you have your charts up, just get a daily or a weekly and start looking at some of the Januaries. It's pretty sweet. And that doesn't mean it'll be back at the lows at January. It just means that may be a great time to be looking ahead for the rest of the year. And I think there are a number of events in December that could cause a stir. And it doesn't take much when you're this overbought and you've been playing this hard. It's going to be very easy for the movers of the market to, take it down.
Especially when people are leveraging up here, right? The cascade of stops.
Yeah. So, I mean, all that to say that I think we're going up in altcoins. I'm really pumped for altcoins over the next couple of weeks. I think we've got a window here of 2, maybe even 3 weeks where things could just get absolute rip face as we see like a liquidity cycle from Bitcoin gains, now Ethereum gains, now XRP gains. We saw all the majors in unison pumping yesterday, I think it was, even like TRX, like all the top sort of market cap coins were just catching rallies yesterday, ADA. So that should and has already started to cycle into mid caps and some of the more OG alts from 2017, 18. And what I expect that usually would end with some sort of mania where you're even seeing like all the shitters in the sub 10 mil caps getting pumps too. So very exciting times, time to pay attention. And it's not time, for what it's worth, I don't think it's time to fall in love with whatever pumps in the next couple of weeks. I'd say pay yourself, enjoy it, have a great holiday into the end of the year. And there's a good chance, historically speaking, that there will be some sort of washout, reset, chill time through January, February, maybe even as long as March, where everything kind of just catches its breath. Now that's me talking from a perspective of 2017, 18, 19. So you have to keep that in mind. I don't want to say that's for sure. I think it's possible. We were talking just earlier about Bitcoin pullbacks getting bought up fairly aggressively. I don't know that, I think, okay, this is a good time to pull up previous all-time highs, because this is our all-time high episode potentially. Let's just take a quick look at this. I mean, this was a 4.5 month lull in the market at the highs. Okay. So again, this is different this time. It really is. Like, there's just different dynamics at play. I don't think there was nearly this strong of an institutional bid back in, late 2016, early 2017. But, look how this basically went into the end of the year, right? So this was January. It was rallying right in through the new year. The previous all-time highs got front run by 2%, dropped 30%. So you got to figure at that point, what was the psychology, right? This is 3-day chart. So that's like a 10-day dump, which is a long time in crypto, right? It looks like nothing on this chart, but think about that. Every day you wake up, it's going down, it's going down, it's going down for 10 days. And then it just ate it up. Rallies, gets to the new high, pure euphoria. We're going to the moon. Then it's like a 4-week dump or a 3-week dump, basically like, half a month here, another dump, and then back to the highs. And then that second take of those highs was the ultimate signal. Now, well, what does this all mean? Well, that took 4.5 months to navigate the previous all-time highs. And so I would just say, I could see something like this happen where, I don't really expect a major sort of pullback correction roll for like 2018, where we're just going to have to chill for 6 months and everything just gets washed out. I don't see it. It could happen, but I expect these sharp pullbacks to be scary. I expect you to see US dollar amounts in your accounts going down at a fairly rapid clip, and then regretting maybe one day you didn't sell, and then 2 days later it goes down again, and then 3 days later it goes down again, and that'll beat you up, especially when it's this volatile. I mean, that's a 30% drop. So I expect it to be tough, and I expect it to really test people. And so I guess to my point there about altcoins is enjoy this ride if we're going to get one in the next few weeks, but pay yourself and take just enough off into whatever it is, USDC, Tether, that when these dips come, you're actually more excited than you are scared. Right? I want to have dry powder, not for a bear market, not for a prolonged downside, but for the dips. And I don't mean like the hourly dip by $12. I mean like the holy fuck, new news came out, Tether FUD, custody banned, like some kind of crazy shit that's just gonna crash price for a week or two, maybe into the end of the year. But nothing else. Just Mt. Gox settlement that's going to talk about how they're going to have to liquidate, 1 million Bitcoin or something. Like, who knows? It'll be something. Almost certainly in a bull market, we're going to get something. So you just want to have a little bit of dry powder on hand, even if it's 20% of your portfolio, 30, 40%, whatever your risk tolerance is. Be prepared for those days. So when they come, you can feel like a champ and averaging in on those dips, because that's how you got to do it in the bull, right? I mean, you're not going to get what I like, which is the RLZs all the time. And I'm waiting and I'm patient, like for the last couple of years, this big dump here, bought up. This big dump here, bought up. I mean, this is a period of a year. And that's actually kind of when I joined, was through 2017. This was the Bcash fork, BCH fork that was very contentious. Everyone said the blockchain may not exist after this day because the miners may abandon it. Bitcoin's going to die. I mean, that was a scary day, mid-July. I remember it like it was yesterday. And then we ran up. Oh my God, we're at all-time highs. Oh man, China banned Bitcoin. That's 12 days of absolute death. It was terrifying. 3 a.m., September 4th, you wake up, China's banned Bitcoin. That was the high. It's never going to go back there. We're dead. Got ate up, and then it confirmed bullish market structure, and then it was just off again. So, this bull markets are not easy, but we're going to be here the whole way through, and hopefully as a group, we can all get together and, pull out the value and mostly, follow the trend. Yeah. Right now, altcoins are trending. Bitcoin dominance is falling, even as it makes new all-time highs, which is fascinating to me because I would have thought it would take a little longer Yeah, Chinese New Year, right? I mean, this shit never ends. There's always something if you need a dump in the market. And don't kid yourself, guys. The big players in this market, they have a certain amount of pull in news media, and they can facilitate stories. I still think the Bitfinex account that caused all that Tether FUD throughout 2017, I swear that was like a paid shill. I mean, the guy had like what 50,000 tweets, and like 92% of them were about friggin'
He was pretty active.
anti-Tether. I mean, how's that guy not paid or have some kind of motive, right? And I'll tell you what it did to me. It prevented me from cashing out as much as I would have, because I knew that I either had to pay taxes, which I will do. I will pay taxes on things that I withdraw. So I was stuck between having to, risk missing out on more gains and taking a 30%, 40% haircut, or I could go into Tether, but Tether might die. Tether FUD. So through that whole bull market, there was this massive sort of campaign basically saying, don't go to stable coins. Don't go to stable coins. Well, how's Tether doing today? They're fine. So I still think that was subtly. And what do you got to pay that guy to run that account? 100K to create your exit liquidity for that bubble? I mean, I don't know. That's just a theory of mine. So look, got off track there, but the trend is down on dominance. And even if you zoom out, I mean, I did it up a different way just to give us a clearer picture. This could change, fairly quickly. This is a lower high until it's not. So yeah, if we break above here, that's going to be a whole new bag of shit. If we break below here, things are probably going to accelerate. For now, it's the brewing of a new alt rally window. And I could not be more excited because of this. Think about this. The last time Bitcoin broke its all-time highs was February something like 7th or something, 2017. And that's when it, actually, well, we just looked at that. Let's go back. Where is it? Here we go. Right. So the last time it broke the all-time highs was right here. So it was early February. It's officially made a new all-time high. That's a fairly significant event. And if you match that up with the total altcoin market cap, so this is the US dollar value of every coin in crypto except Bitcoin, it just fucking mooned through 2017. So even during the bear, right, you got to remember there was some bear markets within 2017 where alts just shot up like 900%, whatever it was, even more, and then just dumped 80%. Like, it's not easy. But this is, this is something to look forward to. And arguably this was Bitcoin gaining in USD value, and that was being kind of accrued in alts as well. But point is, how different is it going to be this time? So I'm not too worried about altcoins. I think even if versus Bitcoin, they take some hits along the way. I mean, they're versus USD, it's going to be sick. It's so exciting. It's hard to even fathom, because here's the other thing. And I was talking to the producer about this earlier. Let's maybe just pull this up. I might even go to CoinMarketCap for this one, because it's just where I remember how to look at the historical data. And not to get like too, I know we're near the highs. There's a bit of a mania in the market right now, so I don't want to go like too like full bull rip face kind of mentality. But think about this. And I guess my take on this is like people that look at, say, I don't know, what's a good one here? Like whatever, Nano. Somebody looks at Nano, they say, well, 176 million market cap. Like, that's so big. I can't get a 10x out of that. I can't get 100x out of that. Because they're looking at saying, if this thing goes 100x from here, well, what is that? That's like that's a $17 billion market cap. And then they just kind of compare it to these prices as they are. And you say, well, that would make it a top 5 coin. But what you have to consider is that the entire market is moving up together. So it could stay in whatever place it is on this list, roughly. And I'm not picking on Nano for any real reason. Did make a killing on it in the end of 2017. That was exciting. But, the point is, I think relative to each other, the whole market's going to go up. I think top 100 is going to be $1 billion market cap, potentially through the next couple of years, or this year. Who knows? So you just have to keep that in mind. And I guess my takeaway on that would be, don't invest in things because they're tiny, because you need that upside. Invest and buy or speculate, whatever you want to call it, on things that you think are strong, period. Because everything on this list in the top 100 has potential to do 100x if it really does become the thing, right? Sure. If it really does turn into a worldwide new system that's going to change the world. You know, if any one of these is ever a winner, this is peanuts. And so, I mean, I'm all for like speculating on sub 10 mil market caps because that's sick and they can move so fast and they will move so hard and they may be the first to 100x. But I would just shy away from maybe like the brand new, a non-developer shitcoin that you found that's, you know, just be careful, guys. I guess always just preaching the carefulness, because I think the scariest thought is, you know, not being a part of what's coming because you got a little too crazy and trying to speculate on something that just got rugged, going all in or something. Don't want to do that.
I think what's going to happen probably, and I'm just taking precedent from previous tech cycles and adoption cycles and S-curves, etc., is that we're going to see a consolidation phase eventually.
Yep.
Probably the next 5 years. And what that means is that, like, you know, they have like what, 5,000 assets. A lot of them will be worthless, unfortunately, because right now you just don't know which ones are going to win, right? So a strategy of portfolio diversification, if you're in the alt space, you know, targeting key technologies, trends, etc., that makes sense for a while. Eventually, it doesn't make any sense because the space has picked their winners, and generally capital and users will consolidate to a few networks. Essentially, that's what we're seeing right now, right? There's going to be a massive consolidation into Bitcoin and other high cap assets.
Inflate, deflate, right? And that's actually why, you know, like as far as like capital flow in and out of in altcoins, and I just went to dead coins. You know, if anyone here is wondering, and this is what scares me. Like I know that the certain communities that I've been in are just, there's always someone in the community that's all in on that coin, right? Yeah. And they just own the one thing. They've convinced themselves so heavily that that coin is going to be the one that they can't even fathom anything else being in their portfolio. Every single community has it, no matter how shitty or you know, dead the coin may look. Someone somewhere has it. Anyways, just take a look at this site, you know, because think about every one of these dead coins, somebody was holding the bag when it died. So just be careful. Now we're going to actually be pulling up some really juicy looking charts. Did a full scan the other day. Oh God, did you hear that? That was loud.
An alarm.
That was
probably a down alarm by just
that was Ripple. That was Ripple stopping me out at break even on the remainder of my trade. So rest in peace. That right into the reload zone. Let's go pull that up. Yeah, there goes my Ripple. So okay. Did you have anything pressing that you were on the tip of your tongue, or can I do the ping pong?
Talk for hours right now, but
I know I feel like I could go all day.
Quickly though, with some important macro news that's going to affect the entire crypto industry is obviously the appointment, a possible appointment of Janet Yellen as the Treasury head of the United States. That's huge. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be good because probably the GOP, so the Republicans, will maintain the Senate. So there's going to have someone in there who can, you know, navigate that and push things through. There has to be cooperation for forward movement. US dollar, honestly, looks primed to fucking drop down to this 1.3%. People will claim it's the end of the world. In reality, it's just dropping into a very key support range down here at 11.7. Whenever this does reverse, that'll probably mark the top for a lot of these risk-on assets, is my guess. But until that happens, you know, I think there's plenty of upside still. You know, US dollar generally moves pretty slow and stuff, right? But, you know, $1 trillion, who knows the real fucking market cap of USD, but it's a big drop. Anyways, quickly looking back at the S&P as well, same thing here. You know, as long as we're holding this 3,500 level, A-okay. Nothing really to talk about there. Trade I'm looking at is Solana. You know, it's been sitting at this key bear back resistance level for a while. If we do see a breakup, I think it's going to be a fantastic, you know, low risk trade. So say we clear this high here. What am I going to be looking for? Well, that first push, you know, right up into there around that just shy of that $3 mark, and then into this volume profile here at 3.2, possibly these highs here, right? A little bit higher there at 3.25. So, you know, another great trade setup here forming, guys. If it does, for whatever reason, break to the downside, what would you be? Well, it's very clear to the downside what you're looking for here, right? And then down into this bullish throwback level. Your trigger to the downside trade would be a break of this $2 mark. And then, you know, targeting this like 1.6, 1.5, upside 3.1. Quickly looking over here at Link. Yeah, so we actually hit my first target. Congratulations for those who took that. Great. If we come back down here and this level fails, I'll be expecting a drop back into this throwback zone around like 12.7. But if we continue to see the support here around 3.8, it's just a nice reload zone. And if it then reclaims that 14.5 level, I think we'll finally get that push to 19 bucks that everybody's waiting for. Sushi trade, yeah, this one's just a fucking hot mess. It's hit this key. I'll pull this out a little bit more. Hit this. Actually, it looks sexier on the daily. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. It could make a huge cup and handle, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like right now, the daily doesn't look too hot. This could easily, you know, retrace down. What I'd be looking for exactly, right? Look at that. This is why I like pulling over levels. Zoopity zoop off there. I'd be looking for this level to get retested down there at 1.03. And how that would look from a fractal point of view, sorry, chart pattern point of view, you got this giant cup, right? And then the handle. Generally, you don't want to see the handle go below 50% of the cup size. If you were to measure that out, I'm sure it's very close. If you see support there, this thing is going to get fucking sent. So that's what I'm looking for on SushiSwap. Not really interested in a long, just here right now. UNIPERP, again, we crushed this trade. It's just kind of consolidating at this level right now. I think Uniswap is going to see some upwards movement once we get a little correction, I think. But once this thing does correct and forms a new bottom, I think it's going to be extremely strong. And we're going to see some, real price discovery. Well, not price discovery, but first target, you're going to be looking around like, that 5.2 level. And then it's a lot of thin air up here, right? So 5.2 to up to $7. It could be a very quick move. So I'm looking for that. What do I need to see for that trade to trigger? Well, I need to see this high here get cleared right off there, right? 4.4. So once 4.4 is cleared, it's very simple trading, guys, all the way up to there. And again, probably a little brief stop there. And those are your three targets. Wow, what great upside, right? So, and your stop loss for this, well, if you're long right now, you're praying to God that this, little throwback level holds its support. Otherwise, this thing will be headed back down to that 3.4, possibly 3.2 level in the short term. But yeah, the Solana trade is definitely probably the hottest one to keep an eye on, especially going into next month. After that January distribution, it's going to be clear sailings. I know there's a lot of great developments coming out there as well over the next 5 to 6 weeks. YFI, another fantastic opportunity setting up here as well. So obviously, it's come off this level here, respected the throwback, failed, retesting it, failed. So we do have this little triangle forming here, right? We got a series of these 1, 2, 3 higher highs. I'll just take it off here, right? And then I'll take my little things off. Well, I'll fucking butcher that later. Anyways, the point is that we are looking for a reload zone back down here at 19K, right? So I'm not necessarily, this isn't really a great level to be shorting. Your short opportunity was a failure of this throwback range right here, right? Or if you were smart enough to reshort the 30,000 mark. Anyways, the chance to reload, if we believe midterm bullishness, probably in this range right here. So that 18 to 19K level is where you would expect the buyers to come up. Even if it's just a dead cat bounce, you're still looking at something like that, right? Back at this level turn support or resistance or something. That's still a 20% trade. I would take that. But yeah, it's kind of some hot tidbits that I'm watching right now.
Beautiful. God. Okay. So on the topic of leverage, let's talk about XRP. And this is a perfect example. I was really going to talk a bit about it today because somebody was asking me about it. Now, look, it's not always about, how much can I buy? I want to just get more for the sake of being longer or shorter. It's really a tool to be able to offset some risk. So for example, let's just get a nice little example here. Let's say, because I actually am looking at this right now for a possible scalp long. So, my trade wouldn't necessarily be to just park my bids here, especially with leverage, because like, where's the wick going to go, right? XRP can wick like nobody's business, especially after the gains it's seen. But what I would consider, and what I was doing the other day, yesterday actually, is wherever this bounces up to, that's my new little zone. And then I will take my longs against these lows. Because now I know how to frame my risk, and I just have to say, well, I want to be long in this if it's making a higher low. If it makes a lower one again, I get washed, and I don't really want to be in the trade. So bear with me here, and I might even hide it below this 786. Excuse me. So if that gets smacked, then go for it. Now look, that's 1.18% risk loss if I get long here and I get stopped here. Now, just say, as part of my risk management, and I'm really confident about a trade, this trade in particular, not so much, but just say I was super into a trade and I say, I want to risk 3% of my portfolio on this trade. I'm going to go real long. That's pretty high for what it's worth. If you guys haven't looked into risk management and stuff too much, I mean, risking 5% of your portfolio on a trade is the max that most people would recommend. And that's really high, especially if you're in a bunch of altcoins, because 5% on each one, they're going to be correlated. So look, I'm going to risk 1.18% on this trade, but I want to take 2% risk of my portfolio. Well, how can I do that? I would have to put in 100% of my portfolio, all my funds, bring them all in from all my wallets, all my exchanges, put them all into this one trade. So I have a lot of systemic risk because all of it is on one exchange now. And I can't even get to my 2% risk because that's all my money. Well, there's leverage. So with leverage, I can actually take a small amount of my total portfolio, maybe 10% of it, put it into my futures account, and then I crank up the leverage to maybe 4, 5, 10, 25, whatever that leverage is. You just have to put that amount of margin down to then cover it, so that the effect is going to be 2% on my total portfolio. And I can do that with Casper's position size calculator, which is just a little widget that a friend of mine put together. So shout out to Craig over at TRI. He put this together. So let's just say, we'll just do this because I know at least a handful of you guys that came in here today were asking about this. So let's say the entry, what is it here? Like 64.81. So I would go here, say, okay, 64.81. Then I go back because I want to know what my stop loss is. I'm going to measure that, 63.85. So I'm going to risk down to 63.85. And I want to take 2% risk. And let's just say I have a $5,000 portfolio that I'm trading. That's all my crypto, all of that added up. That's my net worth in crypto. Calculate it. So I can take a $6,751 position size. Do I have enough money to do that without leverage? No. So then I just say, okay, well, I'm going to take 10x leverage. Well, now I only need to take $675 and place it into my margin, or my futures account, in this case, Binance. And then I can take that $650 on 10x leverage here, and it will allow me to trade with the size that makes that work. Does that make sense, guys? I hope that does. And I mean, there's other ways and there's other arguments for using leverage and strategies, but that's how I use it. I take a small portion of my overall and I put it in futures, and then I can trade with size so that I'm taking the risk that is more suitable for the size of my account without having to stash all of my shit in the same singular account. And it's more important, I think, if you're scalping, so you have really tight stops. Like if I'm doing more of like a regular setup where you just have like a 5% drawdown, you don't have to lever up with 10x or anything like that. These are for like tiny little tight setups. So if you guys have any questions on that, I know there's one guy here. Yeah, we're definitely going to take a peek at some of those altcoins, guys. Just before we do, we had a request to take a look at FibPong, and I'll just briefly go over it. I haven't vetted out the exact criteria for the rules that I'm gonna make in the final setup. This is funny, actually. What's that?
I have a hard 12:15 stop on this right now.
Oh God. Okay, we're at the top of the hour already. Jesus. Okay, so I'll just dive into this real quick. Basically, this is going to work better in a strong trend, right? And when we talk about this all the time, so you have a strong trending asset, right? Higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then you get a smackdown. And when you get the big smackdown, it often will kick that trend into a consolidation. Boop, 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 and you get the triangle. You get, right? People jockeying for position, taking profits, getting washed, whatever. Then you get another strong trend. Smackdown kicks it into a consolidation. So trading this consolidation is what this setup is. And it only works if you have a strong trend and then you spot a strong smackdown. So the way that this will work and the way it had worked yesterday is basically this big smackdown. Don't care, not watching. Big bounce up. Don't really care, but I'm starting to pay attention. So I've drawn my fib. So let's actually just get a blank chart. I come up to the chart. So I take this. I say, oh, from that high, there was your smackdown. And actually, we'll just go back a bit. Right, so there was that smackdown. Okay, so I've got my range now. This is going to be our consolidation range, maybe. This is, it's still not for sure. I'm going to check it out. So now price is coming up. Okay, we're in the short reload zone. Is it going to break to new highs, which a lot of people thought it would yesterday? It did not. Okay, so now I've got a little range to work with. I can draw this, I can draw that, and I can extend it. And so now I'm thinking, oh, maybe we're forming a triangle. Well, how do I know? Where's the next stop going to be? Well, fib pong. So I take the same fib, and I draw it up from the new one, from this low to that high. Okay, so now I've got a new range. Well, if it is going to consolidate and it is a triangle, it should stop somewhere down here. So now I'm watching. I haven't taken a position yet, but I am thinking about it. So yesterday night, my buddy, we were on the call, and he's like, oh, man, XRP's dumping. And I was looking at this chart. I was like, oh, it's right in the RLZ. Yeah, I've been looking at this thing for like a year, this kind of setup. And I thought, man, I'm just going to take that position. I'm going to long it. And yeah, and I'm going to risk to these lows. And actually, you can see my alert there. Stop loss hit, but it didn't hit, thankfully. So I fill, then I draw my stop to that low, or I could even have it hidden below the 786, wherever I want. And then I'm going to trade it back up to this consolidation level. So that's the entry that I made last night, somewhat to that extent on Twitter. Now, here's the sick part. You get into this like fib rabbit hole, and that was your entry, right? Because even then, like I was just saying, you get that bounce off that initial low because it's risky. What are you going to just stick asks here? Where's your risk going to go to? Where is that wick going to go to? You don't know. How are you going to measure, right? So you wait for that to come in, and more often than not, you get the bounce. You draw another fib, and you start placing your asks there because now you know that you're risking to that initial low. It should be a higher low. Otherwise, why am I in the trade? I want to get out. That's my invalidation. So I've got these new bids in here. Now, last night, I didn't take a huge size position, so I did just buy this 702 kind of on the spot. We were just on a call. I was like, oh, no, I'm just going to go buy that, stick my ass below my stop loss. So anyways, but as it turns out, and for this actual setup, I would have the rule be that you wait for the impulse and then look for that reload zone, risking to that initial low. And yeah, and then I went to bed and slept like a baby. And I set my asks to close actually at like 70 something. I forget what exactly it was, like 70, 60. I don't know. Basically up at this high. And it worked out really well. Oh, that's what it is. So here it is. So at this point, you get rid of this one because you've already dealt with that short reload zone. So now you have your new range. This is where the Pong part comes in because each time it makes a new low or high, you have a new little range to work with. And that's why you get the triangle, right? Because it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So I drew this up before I went to bed once I got filled, and I put it at this sweet spot here. And, as you can see, it just tagged perfectly. So it's a great example. Makes me feel like I want to trade this more often. But I'm already out at this point. And then today it kind of broke out, got rejected. And so what I did, and then I guess the last part of this setup that I would say is, in this case, the nice thing is it's an uptrend. So I want to assume that if I bought this low, maybe I'm catching the whole next leg. But I don't want to guarantee that. Like, I don't want to say, well, I need to catch that whole next leg or I'm going to get stopped. So I close half my position here. And then as soon as that hits, I move my stop loss to break even, which means I'm guaranteed that's profitable. And, but maybe I can even catch the whole rest of the next leg, if that makes sense, guys. So that's Fib Pong for whoever asked, and appreciate you taking a look at that on Twitter. And, that's the idea. I just call it Fib Pong, and it's just fib. And that actually just happened again, right? You take this low here, you draw it up to this high here. Oh, and we just smacked into that fib. So maybe we're going to still play. But as it turns out, I had this as my triangle. And so my break even, because I actually was adding on these dips this morning, I just added back. So my average entry started to sneak up. And so my break even was this low here. And I put my stop loss there. So that just got triggered. And as it turns out, and this is the other thing, the last thing I'll say about this on leverage is it wasn't break even. I actually took a loss on that because of the slippage. It's a market sell. There was a whole bunch of other market sells clearly stuck in there. So I did take a hit on that, and it took back probably, I'd say 25% of my gain that I made up here. So it watered down my gain a little bit. And you just got to remember that on leverage. That's, you're not going to put your stop loss right on there. It's not going to be a perfect break even. There will be gross slippage and fees. So keep that in mind. And that just happened to me. And I was actually thinking before the stream, maybe I should just close it, take a little profit, and have a new setup. But, can't be perfect in this game. And I got washed. I made a profitable trade. I'm going to move on to the next one, take some notes, and I'm going to be hunting these fib pongs.
On to the next one.
In general, I like them because, it's a 15-minute chart. This is short and sweet trade. And you don't need the asset to really do anything other than just kind of meander between these levels. So yeah, and it's a fun name, right? Fib Pong, baby. So anyways, that's the setup that I'm really gonna, and ultimately I should have that written out. So I have exact criteria, and then I can have it's like repeatable, and I can follow those exact criteria 60 times and see after 60 trades, how many win, how many lost, what's the average RR, is it profitable, how profitable, and then I could even probably get an algorithm to program it. That would be the real ticket. So anyways.
Let's get into some of these charts.
God, yeah. We got to get into the altcoins. We promised.
Yeah, I got a couple open. I'll do Aeon and CFI.
Yeah. I can run a little longer. If you need to cut for a call or something, I can probably stay on, but that's neither here nor there. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Anyways, CFI, disclaimer, we are early investors. We're up 10x. Let's go. But they are solving real problems, right? We've talked about it. I think at this point, DeFi has matured enough where we know what the killer features is, positive yield. And now it's just about making that as easy as possible to capture yield, and then for people actually being able to interact with the smart contract functionality and things, right? So that's kind of where the phase of development is at. People have refined the products. We have the ideation, like we're through the ideation stage. We know what we want, right? We've deployed solutions to that encapsulate those ideas. Now we need to make them more usable and scalable, right? And this is where great companies are born, right? You never know, like take the shotgun approach early on, like you just don't know who's going to be the winner. But at this point, it's we've already seen some consolidation of liquidity and stuff. So it's becoming a little bit more clear. And I'm sure there's going to be projects launching that aren't even there that are going to be worth billions of dollars, right? But for now, Cyberfi automates a lot of these processes, and it makes it a lot easier for people who are looking to use this stuff, right? So right now, from a technical point of view, obviously we had a really nice pump up today. We love throwbacks. So what we need to see right now is this 4.6 level holding. If that continues to hold as it is right now, you can see here continuing with the higher highs, higher lows. This chart has just been so sexy, going back all the way for almost about last week now since it launched. There's only one level left, and that's the listing high here at 6.04. Where it goes after that, no idea. But what I do know is that a lot of funds are starting to look at this stuff. The product set is it makes sense, and nobody has done this stuff yet. So I'm pretty excited for the future. What's going to go on here? Plan on holding and continuing to support this project. Again, so if this thing dips below 4.6, if you're in some short-term trades, I'd be looking to take profit at that point. But as long as it holds above that level, happy to hold this one. Aeon, again, we've been charting this bad boy for a while. It's finally moved up. So again, it's finally there. It's almost cleared. It's almost cleared its first throwback level. I'll be getting interested in this once it's again cleared that 11 cents, as I said repeatedly. It's almost there. Still, we are technically in a bear market, bear trend here. Higher low, higher low, higher low. If we do pop this level and flip it back to support, I think that's when we can see the real move off this, right? So what does that look like? Well, let's draw it up. So again, if we see a pop up here, probably into this high zone here around, what is that, 14 cents? probably a little bit of a throwback. This would be your long entry. Seeing this level flip to support, or maybe even down here or something, but seeing this level here flip to support, that would be confirmation for me that this is shifting from bear to bull, and I'd be looking to get long on this. And eventually, I think it'd reclaim this range here, 24 to 26 cents. So that means we have 3 destinations, right? These 3 highs here that need to be taken out. So that means a target of 16 cents, a target, where's that pullover? 20 cents, and a target of 26 cents. From here, that's almost, that's over 150% gain. So again, looking to see this as held as support at 9 to 11 cents. That'll give us confirmation that this thing is ready to run. It has, it's not quite there yet, but this is their first sign. Obviously, huge bullish engulfing off the weekly. Things look good. I get the 8th inning of supply emission being reduced is also fantastic. So that's kind of my thoughts on those 2 charts.
Beauty. Let's flip over here. I've got a short list that I want to just peek through. And I have a theory. It's a little hopeful in the sense that, it's going to require a few things. First of all, I got this GAN horizontal. And the reason I'm going to talk about Bitcoin here is because if this moves to new all-time highs, then that is going to set up the best entry that I can imagine for my altcoin longs that I want to get into. So if this does pop and, it is at this key level and it's kind of bouncing along. So if it does decide to rally and just go for it, it could happen very quickly, and it could mean this GAN horizontal gets tagged. If you draw the fib extension from the entire 2019 rally, we're getting into that nice high time frame stuff. That kicks out a 1618 fib extension, which, as you guys know, I use for my take profits all the time, right above the all-time high. So we're actually looking at about $20,650. That could happen in one candle, and that could be like an insta and then a wick down, and that's the top for now, as we then consider, getting back into some of this maybe like multi-week rollover. I don't know. Not going to get into all that. Point is, with that in mind, I've got a few altcoins that I've selected. Now, they could just run. It's possible. I am willing to, I'm going to have to be willing to sit out if I miss them completely. I think OMG started to get away from me today, although I have some. But as far as like my stinkier bids hit, didn't get filled. But I've got a position now. What's the other one that kind of got away today? KNC started to get away, right? But I don't think it got away. So here's my point. In some sense, okay, yes, confirm bullish market structure. That's your signal. This was your retest here, pullback. So it's waiting for volatility to come after confirmation, and that's the fill. And that's how I can get the size that I want. So actually, it did happen here. Damn. So yesterday on the big, we got the confirmation 2 days ago. Then yesterday there was some volatility, and it actually came down and tagged that reload zone. More appropriately, perhaps the pump chaser fib, whatever you want to do, however bullish you're feeling. And now it's like touch and go. So that's what I'm looking for on all these pairs. You get the same thing with OMG, right? Comes up, confirms structure, pulls back. Let's see if we drag that down because that was the high at the time. Came back in, pump chaser zone right here, and then go. So I picked up some of that. VET, same kind of thing. Confirmed that bullish market structure right here on the close above. So if I had drawn that as such, comes back, tags the pump chaser zone, and go. So that's the kind of thing we're looking at, right? This looks really bullish, but it's at resistance. Am I going to go buy VET today? Nope. Sorry. But I did. So just to show you an example of where this actually worked, and I had bids, was on DIA, this like DeFi Oracle, which is 2 words that tend to do well in bull markets.
That's true.
Right. So they confirmed bullish market structure. Nice volume came in a couple days after. Didn't chase it. Didn't FOMO. Patience. Had my bids working. Got filled today. And hopefully now we're going to just moon. We'll see. ARPA, same thing. But I have my bids working right now. Didn't get filled yesterday. Should have had them working. I did not. I had some alerts. But, it was right into the pump chaser zone. So I might have missed this one. 135. Yeah, I think I actually picked some up at 132 this morning. A little bit of FOMO maybe. Bad RT. Anyways, we'll see. If it moons, I don't feel as bad. But you got to stick to your plan. I mean, I couldn't take much size because obviously I'm buying at a shittier spot. But this is the idea, right? Getting that confirmation, and you'll start to be able to recognize this yourself in the market, where you have the lows, and then you just want to see a break of that midpoint as your confirmation, which we got, and then we had a nice dip. And it happens, like you can see on all the charts I just showed you, like it's uncanny how after that confirmation you just get a big wash. And then it goes. So the problem is most people, they buy when it goes moon, they get scared when it dumps, and they sell, and then they miss it. So to be able to buy this dip, you have to not FOMO into that pop. And that's an important thought. So Tomo is another one. Again, they all look the same because I just searched like 300 coins to find the ones that all look like this. So if you're thinking, it's not every altcoin. There's a lot of them that are making new lows, and they just, they might go up, but they just don't have the setup that I'm looking for. Same thing here. Breaks out, confirms on the daily close, comes back down. I guess at the time that wasn't an RLZ. That was like, pump chaser fib. So, depends how hot the market is. In this case, honestly, I would be waiting for these. Typically at the bottom here, I would be thinking I could get an RLZ tag, just because we're not in a rip-roaring bull for altcoins yet, right? So maybe if Bitcoin does push to those all-time highs, bet your bottom dollar that these Bitcoin pairs are all going to dip right into this kind of zone here. And if you blink, you'll miss it. If your bids weren't working, you'll miss it. And if you're sitting there trying to make a decision in that moment while the hellfire is falling and all the altcoins are dumping in unison, you're probably not going to long it because it's an emotional moment. So having these plans in advance, trusting your setups, managing your risk allows you to take that kind of position. Blue Zell is another one. Actually, technically hasn't even confirmed its bullish structure. So if it does today, did I miss the trade? No, the trade just fired. Wherever it ends up topping today, I'm going to draw my fib up to there. And since all these other ones kind of just touch and go off the pump chaser, I'll probably assume this will do the same. And I can just get, it goes up. I can get right in here, start layering some bids, and then maybe next week it's touch and go. So, yeah, okay. So we're near the end of our stretch here with Nick. Maybe give us. Oh no, you got a hard stop. Okay, let's flip back to the studio.
I actually pushed it 10 minutes.
Oh, did you? Okay. Well, did you have a chart lined up?
Yeah, I got TRX here. I know we charted this one a few times. It's at. Am I up? Okay. Good. Anyways, yeah, we came into this nice weekly level here around 4 cents. It's not a level you want to be getting long at. This is weekly resistance for a yearly weekly resistance. Do not be the guy to long that. Wait for the expansion, please. Otherwise, this looks good. What we need to see at this point is this level here, form of resistance. This would be This would be a real entry, the patient man entry, the guy who makes money entry. Down here at like 3.1 cents, right? So we could have a little range form here. Even eventually, the trade here for now, the next long setup. If you're not going to be buying this little throwback down here, look, it's already getting fucking wrecked. Look at that. We're going to be looking for the range expansion move. Look at that. That's I don't want to say risk free, but it's definitely fucking less risk than buying at the weekly resistance. So yeah, wait for the range expansion. If this is probably the last resistance block up here, I'm just taking buy net, so maybe there's more of a chart history somewhere else. Totally possible. But yeah, this would be your target if you're getting long off this 3 cent up to 5 cent. That's a fantastic trade on spot. In terms of high time frame market structure, when does this get concerning? If you saw a break and close below 2.2 cents, I would be like, wow, this thing's headed to new lows, right? But until that happens, just wait. Either look for. Let's take this down to say an hourly here to give a bit better idea. Yeah. So waiting for the let's even draw here like this. I'm not a big only 2 line. It's on the trend line right now, so it's actually going to what's it going to do, right? The majors are pulling back a little bit here right now in Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Oh yeah, they are. XRP is making a bid for a dumpy. That's why you manage risk, guys. I was pretty sure it was going to break out today and get a new leg, but I was wrong, and I got the fuck out. And, I'm not.
It's good on you for recognizing that, right?
Yeah. No, you just got to have your stop losses working, boys.
Yeah. Anyways,
and
ladies, there's in my experience, lady traders are much better at managing risk.
Yeah, I've heard
bullish
that.
traders. Anyways, yeah, looking for a possible 8% downside here. If I see support there, this would be your buy entry. Other than that, just kind of wait for this level to get cleared. There's, what are you, yeah, just wait. So that's kind of my thoughts on TRX. AAVE, I'll quickly pull up AAVE here. Pull up on the USD pair. Oof, wow, look at that rounded top, eh? Fucking hell. See, and that's eventually you just get to that point where you can just look at the candlesticks and the market structure without literally plotting anything, and have a high probability of where this thing is going. So in terms of like where I'd be interested in buying, it's definitely not up here. Definitely not up here. You got the fucking Stoke pointing down. You got pretty strong.
Daniel calls that like the scythe, like death's scythe.
Yeah.
And you can see it on that. It's clear as day.
Yeah, like the play here is buy the alt blood. Like buy these retraces, guys. Like, do we think, like, I don't anticipate a huge fucking bear market, but I do anticipate short-term downside. So yeah, I'd be interested in AAVE back down here at like, $54. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Daily structure kind of suggests that we are headed down from here. Quickly take a look here on the 4-hour. Yeah, you guys can see it here, right? Do I really need to paint it out? I will, but at this point, I think we know what we're looking for, determining what a trend looks like. Lower high, a lower high, a lower high, right? Yeah, lower low, lower low. So are we going to get the next one, right? That's the question. So that's what I'm looking for. I think there's a huge volume node here as well, right? It's $53 to $56. It's a nice little support level below it. Where would I get concerned? If we're closing, so say for whatever, I don't think it's going to happen, but if we did nuke down and then this came back up and turns resistance, short it. The confirmation that there would be a trend change in the market. I'm not anticipating that just yet, but it could happen. Anyways, so what the real play is, I think what will happen is we'll come down in here, we'll bounce back up, and your signal will be what happens here at the $63 mark. If it comes back, makes a lower high, once it re-breaks above here, that's your signal that this thing is strong, and see you at $100. But right now, again, not seeing a lot of short-term bullish strength. Caution warranted for sure. The majors are still stuck in this range. Quickly, we did point out a possible head and shoulders. So that's kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin here right now as well. Nothing's really changed. This is an hourly chart. One concerning thing I did see on Ethereum, which made me think even last night why I thought we were going to be seeing a retrace off those highs, is because there's some hidden bear div. And I'll show you what that looks like here quickly and where I think it could be headed. Obviously, a huge support level down there at 560, as well as off this 570 level for your local range, right? What I was noticing was that we were making higher highs on less momentum. We were getting some lower low. Where the hell is my thing? Here we go. We were getting lower lows on here, right? So this entire thing, like probably since 540, huge divergence on that stuff. And I think we can agree that a lot of this buying here was to the FOMO in. Like there's we saw it already, Colin. There was a strong correlation between the price and the inflow of the 2.0 deposit contract. That's petered off now. So like, if that correlation is true, that it makes sense that we see a little dip here to like this 560 range, right?
Well, look at the ETH BTC pair. I mean, that a healthy, normal, bullish price action would mean the next couple of days we're just going down.
Yeah.
And that's natural. That's not bearish. That's just how you bull market. That you got to wash out the FOMO and then make the higher low and then continue.
And for the confirmation I'm looking for that downside to 550 would be a close below this 580. Like obviously we have a pretty really nice support. This is a 4-hour chart, guys. Obviously we have a nice local range here, support 575 to 580. So again, this is an awful place to be getting short, literally almost at support. You've kind of missed your opportunity. So either wait for the 620 break for further upside to 720, fantastic trade, or wait for the retest down here at the 550, 560 mark. And if price action looks good, it's going to be a nice low risk long back up, and probably back up to at least 580, 585.
Yeah, no, just before we lose you, what's your take on the American holidays? Do you think that's going to play into the market? What do you normally see in your 8 years in crypto? Is it
Yeah, so like yeah, that's the thing. Like crypto is just a completely different space. Like compared, like before it was really retail focused, and the market's just generally trended sideways. No big movements or anything. Generally, you do see a little bit of sell off in the equity space going into the whole. I think they get Friday off, in fact. But again, I think we'll probably just see some sideways action throughout the markets. And then your triggers, like if I'm wrong, we already have our triggers. Like we know what we're going to be doing if this level breaks, right? And that's the thing that we always preach is like being proactive versus reactive. That's our goal. Not only to teach you strategies and how to analyze markets, but also how to execute your trades in a proactive manner versus that reactive. Because as RT was saying, you don't want to be the guy who's panicking when it's coming into a level because you've taken your trade too early, right? And you're considering then, well, you probably should be closing it when it breaks the level. But yeah, you want to be ready to buy. Have that dry powder ready. You know what the levels are. You know what your trade execution is, and then you can just execute on it without having all this negative emotions and psychology burdening you down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the setup stuff, right? Where I think there could be some short-term downside and volatility, whether, and I'm looking at BTC pairs. So if the majors roll over, for sure, you're going to get some downside. If Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs in a rush, you're going to get some downside. And that's going to be the dip. And that's going to be the dip right into my reload zone, pump chaser fib. And I want to be ready. And I don't want to be like in a position thinking, should I cut it on that day? I want to be in a position, I want to be like, oh my God, I got the fill. And then, parked.
Feeling good about it.
Yeah, feeling good about the dips, guys. That's the key to a bull market. And you can only do that if you use fibs. Or as Nick doesn't really use fibs, but he's got some nice levels. So, but for me, Fibonacci retracement tool speaks to me, so I use it in everything I do.
I'm going to flip back on camera, I guess. Here.
Yeah, flip back. There's a couple coins left that some people are asking about. I'm going to fly through them quick because I do actually have to run as well. But I will run through a couple. Just as
man of the people, I got to say.
What's up?
You're a man of the people.
Yeah, well, look, we've got a list. Yeah, producers put together a few lists. You did AAVE. So I'll just do a quick run on HAKKA and Numeraire and whatever the heck EWT is, TRX, FT. Yeah, there's a few, but we'll fly through those in a short order here. Thanks so much for joining us as always. Obviously, being here with me, I should say. And we'll be back on Friday. Again, we're not ending this second, but Nick will be back on Friday with me. So
yeah, my closing thought here is that I was listening to the mining conference that BitBAME hosted yesterday. And the scale of which mining is increasing right now is mind-blowing. We're talking 500, 600 megawatt farms. That's, what can power that? That's a nuclear power plant. It's really at that scale right now. And I think we're going to see we are seeing, and I think the trend is going to accelerate of miners moving out of China to other regions, specifically in North America, the Nordic states, Iceland, Norway, etc., as well as into the Middle East, where there's readily cheap power. We're essentially seeing a transition, even in the traditional power generation space. So, oil, coal, etc., all that dirty shit is on its way out over these next couple of decades, and so they need to pivot their business models, right? They need something to harness this energy and create income from. Bitcoin mining is the natural vertical to move into. So we're seeing a lot of large mining firms partnering with very, very, very large power producers at nation state levels. So it's super bullish for Bitcoin. It's super bullish for the decentralization and security of the network and the entire ecosystem as a whole. And yeah, I think these next couple of years are just going to be absolutely face melting and really cement cryptocurrency as a fundamental technology in our society.
Global asset class. There you go. Yeah. You heard it here first, guys. And if you want more of that sweet, sweet alpha that Nick drops on us every day on stream, hit up HeroLabs.io. That is our website, and his newsletter is posted on there every week. I read it myself. I get good ideas from it myself. And yeah, I'm just going to toot your horn here. You are the guy who actually goes and reads all of these economic reports. Those, like the Big Short movie. I always go back to this guy. I forget his name. He's like, he did something that no one else did. He looked. Right. Yeah. So I really do deeply appreciate getting to work with you every day, because you go and read all the things that I'm not even looking at, and then we find ways to factor them into our macro thesis and higher time frame trends, and it's going to be an exciting couple of years coming up here. And
the body is ready.
Yeah, with that, you've got to go. You've got a call to make. I'm going to go back to screen share, and we're going to do a couple of coins. So if you guys are in there thinking it's over, it's not. But we do have to say goodbye to Nick. So have a great.
Right on. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one. See you on Friday. Toodaloo.
All right, take care. All right, guys. I'm going to do a little turbo on some charts because it is getting past the 1.5 hour mark, and that means I've got a call coming up. Got to get to. So with that, let's see. What are we looking at here? Where's the list? Okay, so AAVE's covered. Let's do HAKKA. I've got some of that, so I have been keeping an eye on it. I think we can even chart it on TradingView now. Yes, let's say versus ETH. Yeah, it's down there. It's in the buy zone, but we're gonna have to zoom in to get any info from this. Yeah, so this is what I've been seeing on ChartX as well, which is weird that this is getting a 4 hour. Yeah, let's get a 4 hour, slightly more liquid looking, and I'm gonna draw a fib, see where I want to be getting long. We've lost the pump chaser fib, which makes sense because it's not really a pump. It's more like a breakout. So after a very severe markdown from some highs, that was crazy. Big washout, as with most DeFi. I don't really know what this one does. I'm long on it because I watch Messiah's stream and he's very bullish on it, and that makes me bullish on it because he knows how to spot the gems. So yeah, it's right in a sweet little area here, actually. If I didn't already own some, I'd be saying this is an area where I want to be thinking about picking some up if that's my flavor. And I guess the next question is, well, if buy here, when sell? Because you got to sell. You can't get paid if you don't take profit. So if I am long from here, I'm going to use my fibs again. But this time, I'm going to use the extension. I'm going to kick it out. And that's where I'm taking profit, right here. Sometimes price comes up and plays here, but I like to just get in there and make sure I lock it in at 1618. And we'll just get a nice little green dotted line there. So that's pretty sweet, potentially. I mean, there's no real stop losses. I think you can actually get like 1-inch orders to help you with that. But I mean, that's pretty sweet RR as far as risking. If you could spot this, you can actually set price alerts on certain apps like Delta portfolio trackers. So maybe you could have that trigger that, and then maybe you're like, okay, I'm just going to go market dump because that's how Uniswap works. Market sells only. But yeah, risking 14, maybe you don't get there in time, so you're risking 25. You're still getting good money for your risk if you trade it up to that first leg. So that's my take on HAKKA, and that's actually exactly how I'm probably going to trade it. I'm just kind of buying and will be selling. So I hope whoever asked about HAKKA is still here and that makes sense. I'll fly over to Numeraire. This is an old one from 2017. Breaking out. Yep. And now it's kind of pulling in. And so that's it, right? So you could be, this is a 4 hour, like, what would you rather do, right? Buying random lows or wait until something says, hey, I'm going to move. I got buyers. There's interest. Then move in for the kill. Structure it. Don't know why that's not working. There it is. Structure it. Now it's back into the reload zone. So you definitely are thinking correctly if you're thinking now is a time to start looking for entries. That was a pretty sharp and ugly rejection, and then ugly rejection and ugly. Like these wicks are kind of indicative of sellers being present. So I don't know if it's going to be touch and go. I would be pretty patient with this one, at least down to this moving average. But yeah, getting in on this kind of zone here It might be boring, right? You might have to watch other things go up for a week. Like that's like 3 weeks as a daily, but you might have to watch some other things go. But parking into these kinds of things after a big breakout, it's not a bad idea. Generally ages better than most, which, let's be honest, most people, they see this thing break out for another leg and they just buy it because they want to ride the free ride. It doesn't work that way. I mean, sometimes it does, but on par, you're going to get wrecked. So that's numeraire. Patience. You're in the zone, but probably could catch a day or two of consolidation here. EWT, I've never even heard of. And, it's on KuCoin. Look at that. Energy Web token. Let's do it against Bitcoin. Sadly, against Bitcoin, it's making new lows. So again, going back to the list I made, the reason they're on my list is because they're not making new lows versus Bitcoin. I think most things are going up versus USDT right now because Bitcoin's rallying and ETH's rallying. So I wanted to trade the things that are not only going up versus USDT, but are also going to look good versus Bitcoin. It's at a pretty sweet spot as far as like infinite upside, minimal risk. You want to take a shot on these lows, but if this wick even breaks, I'd be like, get the fuck out. Because you do sometimes see that, right? Make a low, sweep the low, and then go. But that's a riskier trade than I'm willing to take. I don't see any bullish market structure. I do see some bullish divergence, right? So that's good. It is slowing. But how do you manage risk here? I just don't see it. So, yeah. But as far as like somebody asking me like back here, oh, should I buy it? I'd be like, yeah, let it wash out. Well, it's washing out. So if you want to park it for 2 years, you could start your dollar cost averaging now. As far as like touch and go trades, it's not there yet. Let's see. Yeah, let's check out ETH in a sec. We talked about it a bit today. I think we touched TRX. What is FTV? Maybe it's ChartX Pro. Let's take a look. FTV. How dusty is this coin? Can we even find it? Tune in. Find out. Nope. Sorry, guys. Can't do FVT. I can do Wabi, though. Wabi's actually an old favorite of mine. It was in the ICO. I don't have any anymore, obviously. It was like a 3.2 Ethereum personal cap back in whenever it was, 2017. Now, I didn't have it on my list because it lost these lows, right? Making new lows versus Bitcoin. So it had all this time from mid-2019 basically to now to make, a nice base. It even lost them here and regained them. So I thought, okay. But then it lost the lows. So generally speaking, just not the strongest. However, it's come on the daily. It's put in a double bottom. And if this daily confirms a close above there, oh my God, BLZ is less than. Let's go see. So anyways, if that's confirmed bullish market structure, daily bottom or double bottom, nice volume. So yeah, this is a candidate. Oh my God, everything's dumping right now. The markets are dumping. Yep, XRP fell off a cliff again. Got to have those stop losses working. My God, alerts everywhere. Yep, things are going crazy. Always seems to be on stream. Why? I want to be at the battle station. But we're here together, and I kind of am at the battle station. But I've got orders working for everything, so it's all good. So let's take a look live at BLZ, because I think, oh my God, Bitcoin alert. Yep, all my alerts are firing together. So this is a great this is a great reminder of why you don't take like 5% risk on 10 different altcoins, because when they dump, they all dump together. So you're really just taking 50% risk. So be careful with that. I actually have to go make sure that my BLZ orders are working. Let's just go. I'm just on the other screen here. Sorry, guys. 1 sec. Bear with me. Market is dumping live. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can dig that. Did it get filled? Order history. Yep. I did get filled. Okay. So I just got filled on BLZ. A slightly more aggressive setup. Might as well just show you, because if this thing breaks down any further, I'm actually right back out. But I got filled here today. So here's what I'm looking at. Again, there's a more patient approach to this, which is what I've been talking about on stream. So I definitely, trade somewhat differently than I preach on stream sometimes, because, I don't want to advocate someone taking like scalp longs. What I would really think is that the best way to play this is to have this and just park these over the long weekend, and maybe we just get some crazy volatility and that's your fill. But I am filling here, looking for a touch and go. My stop loss is here, which means I'm going to trade this thing more than once if I have to. So ultimately, I would really like to get long off this 786 breakout level here. That would make me risk to these lows. So I'm looking at 13% downside with tons of upside through the next few weeks. But, there's things popping off today earlier. So I thought, I'm not going to chase that, but I will set this bid. So we'll see if we touch and go here on BLZ. Yeah. RT short it. I don't know. So BLZ's filled, but I don't really want to see more downside. I'm looking for a touch and go here, guys. And frankly, I'm not sure I'm going to get it. We'll see how bad those majors are dipping. There was arguably a short here on futures up in the short RLZ. That's maybe the other way to trade it back into my buys. But for now, I do have a long working now officially from 500. So we'll see how that ages over the next little bit. But we're in a bull, and I'm bullish on altcoins. This moments like this where you get that fill and you're like, wait, everything's dumping. Why am I long? And you just got to remember, like, the trend is down against Bitcoin. And that is what that's what this is. This is trading against Bitcoin, which is trending down. So this should be trending up. So you got the low, high, low, high, low, high. Buy the low, sell the high. That's the vibe. Let's take a look. Yeah, how bad is it? I mean, what is going on here, guys? I'm not even looking. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look great overall. But again, look, if Bitcoin stays, so look, it was a pretty good 4-hour close up here, right? I said if we get the close below this level on the 4-hour, then that's me saying, oh shit, that's bearish market structure, right? We had some bearish divergence. This is suddenly like, maybe we're not going to hit the all-time highs. Maybe we do have to really dump for a bit first, then pull back up and then squeeze them. Just like we did the last time. Right? We looked at this earlier today. Did we make, oh my God, another one. So see, stop loss hit, but that must be old because I am already out of that trade. 61 cents. Hot damn. Where is it? Yeah, anyways, old alert. I'm not in a 61 cent trade. Let's see. Oh, yeah. XRP. You see, guys, now this is the thing, right? And this is where people can get really messed up on leverage. They don't want to take the loss. I didn't want to take the loss. I mean, it was a win. I closed 50% up here, and then the other half was a break even. And it came with a slight loss. And on stream, I was even looking to the right. I was like, when Nick was talking, I was like, maybe it bounces. Maybe I get long here, get back in. And I was like, nah, fuck it. Broke down out of the triangle. And look at this thing. I mean, it's not a place where you want to be rushing to long in general on the chart. It could stop in this consolidation, and that's your sick entry, but why risk that? Maybe it's going to like absolutely nuke wick down to 45. In fact, on futures the other day, I was running a bid around 45 thinking, because, XRP does that. These insano wicks. I'll show you the last one I did right here back in October. I mean, absolute nuts. And this is a fairly liquid coin. And look at that. I mean, if anyone on futures that was long got washed on that, that is, let's see. That is, no, there's the 10x leverage. Anyone 10x leverage is liquidated. Anyone 5x leverage got liquidated, right? If they didn't have stop losses. So scary thing is cross margin too. I would highly recommend you don't use cross margin unless you're absolutely an OG. Because then your whole account gets liquidated. So anyways, yeah, XRP's dumping. Short it. Sweet. Yeah, and looking at this a totally different way, there's a short there, where you're up in that short reload zone. And that's why, like, when you get up into this area, you want to think breakout because it's going up, but you really should be looking the other way, especially in a consolidating coin. So anyways, neither here nor there. I have some spot XRP that's from like whatever 28 cents when it broke out, but I'm not rushing to worry about that. Let's take a look. Yeah, BTC is back at 1812. So look, this is a big 4-hour candle. This is monstrous. If it closes bullish, no big deal. No harm, no foul. If it closes below this level, that's going to be the daily close. That's that's probably bearish. Well, that is bearish market structure. And then we're probably going to be exploring lower, looking at range highs again, where we were basically 2 days ago. So not really a big deal. And maybe we're just back into this consolidation for a bit, recharge, tap into the demand, some buys come in, take it up to the highs. I still think we're going to sweep the highs, but look, we don't have to. Where's that chart? I want to look at those all-time highs. All right, we looked at this earlier. Oh yeah, it's because the alert popped up. I got distracted. But look, remember, so last time around, which again, one example, but it's all we really have. And we never made it to the highs. We got front run and it tanked for 3, 6, 9 days. So do we go into this holiday season and just shit the bed for a bit? Possible. Certainly possible. And then, that's probably where I'm deploying some of my dry powder. We might have an old pivot to work with. And then, then we're going to go really test them. So I'm not calling that. I still think we're going to visit them, but that doesn't really matter what I think. It's just going to have to see what happens. So it's going to be one level at a time. One level at a time. So this 4-hour close is big, as they often are. If it closes below or above, that's a very strong signal. For now, I'm not convinced, tap this MA, shake everything out. The bull markets do this stuff all the time. So, but like Nick said, and I fully agree, like, is this a place on a chart to be like sizing up major risk? Nah. Wait for the dip. Wait for the day you wish you never bought Bitcoin. Buy it that day. Let's do a couple. I really do have to cut here, but I want to get some of these requests in. The last one was Wabi. All these alerts fired on the stream, so I got distracted. Where's Wabi? I think we kind of talked about it. Wabbit. Yeah, I mean, Wabi just possibly is going to confirm bullish structure today on the daily. So if it does, then it's time to get out that fib and start stink hunting. Because once you get long in this kind of area, your risk is small. Your reward is monstrous. And in this case, I'd probably just be longing back up to those old lows, which is like, there's a double in there. Right? And the nice thing about something that goes up 100% is you can just sell half your position, take your money back. So, put in $500 here. So you're risking whatever 17% of that is. And then, it goes up, it's worth 1,000 now. Take your $500 back and keep that coin. Now you've got your free position. That's what we call the LOL, the little old lady strategy over at TRI. And, take that 500 that you took back from that and go do it on some other coin. And then go do it on some other coin and do it on some other coin. And you're planting seeds and you have all these free positions. And my guess is over the next year or two, that's going to age really well, the more seeds you plant. Let's take a look at ETH. ETH is in the pump chaser zone, but look, it's unwinding. And on the whole, I think it has some room it needs to pull back. This is not a place as a rule to short. This was the perfect short, obviously, like where you get the bearish divergence, dump, comes in, dump. So you draw up that fib, right? So there was the low, this is the high, and sure enough, squeezes up, filling up in the short reload zone. Then, you're safe. You can risk to those highs. Down here, after this red candle, it's really tough. Really tough to make the call at this point. Emotionally, you're going to want to sell that. I don't know. I wouldn't. I have some Ethereum. I'm not going to sell this. Generally, I'm just bullish on it. I blinked It was like a week ago. It was lower than this. So we're still up. I'm still up on, 550. I don't know. I think there's a lot of levels here. I think there's a lot of unpacking that Ethereum could do into the end of the year. I don't think $500 is even remotely out of the question. I think we're going to have to visit some of that stuff. And that's just the general thing, right? Heat up, cool off, heat up, cool off. The trend is up though. But we just had a fucking heater of a couple of weeks. So I wrote this pump chaser zone from here. As far as like chasing the trend up, this is like touch and go. If we're going to have a little more of a maybe short midterm pullback, probably want to use a larger time frame. So we could erase this. And that's what I had drawn up here last night. So we got some levels in here. And, again, but shorting this is just asking to get squeezed, right? I mean, I think there's actually probably a decent chance we just bounce here for now, even if we are going down. So, I don't see tons of volume on these cells, and then if you're shorting here, I mean, arguably this is the 4-hour kind of bearish confirmation, just like on Bitcoin. So if that happens, then you get the squeeze maybe overnight. And then, so you got to be tactful. Try not to be too emotional, guys. It's harmful, cause you chop yourself up. I'm pretty bullish on ETH long-term, but I mean, that's a sick, crazy rally it did, as Nick said, right into that sort of sell the news event, which was the contract filling up. I mean, the contract filling up is great. They're going to launch ETH 2.0 mainnet, but it's not suddenly going to create a massive amount of demand. It's more of a narrative that just hyped the price. But look at this. This is ETH BTC. And this is what I think it's going to do. I think it's going to crazy rally into that event. Very cool. Very good. Fib extension, hit the target. Resistance, hit that. Actually, it flipped it at first. I was like, holy shit, did ETH just flip that on one go? It seemed unlikely. And now it's pulling back in. So yeah, cool off, could go as low as even the 786. I mean, could go anywhere, but even the 88.6 is actually this like Wyckoff check. That's kind of sick. But anyways, yeah. So that kind of thing means that the ETH USD needs to chill. Now, when these things make their volatile moves like they are right now, that's when all the alts dump. But if ETH can just come down wherever it's going to end up and just kind of find a little chill zone, just like, let's get back into the hourly here. Just like Bitcoin, right? Like Bitcoin gets volatile up here, down here, suddenly alts are just dipping. But if it's just going to like, if it can just find its little chill zone here, like that's alt season, mini alt season. So I hope that makes sense. Desi Bull, if that helps you with your ETH, that's kind of what I see when I look at it. I see short-term bearish, but I don't think it's a good place to be shorting, especially anything to do with leverage. It's just too late. There's no setup there. As a holder of some ETH, I am, maybe exiting on a bounce if I want to play this trade. But in general, I've still got some contracts for ETH to hit 1,000 by March, and I expect they might hit. So I'm bullish on ETH, but not rushing to buy this. I think if I was going to add to my bag, I'm doing it down here, and if I was going to sell my bag, I'm waiting for a bounce. This is just kind of no man's land for me. Keep. Okay, last one today. We're going to do keep, and then I got to stand up and stretch. Calibrate myself after all these alerts fired. See how wrecked. Just kidding. Not wrecked. But let's take a look at keep. Ooh, I mean, yeah. Look at that. So, me like to buy things when they're at the low ends of ranges. And so getting more aggressive at the beginning of bigger moves potentially versus like, going omega longs at tops like that. Just for an example. So yeah, let's take a look. Keep. And sure, you got your breakout. So you got your double top, kind of like try it again. No buyers stepped in there, right? There's no volume. So the first one was a nice big breakout. The second wave of buys were fairly like on fumes, meaning that there's no more demand up there. We're going to have to come down and search for some to put a little bottom in this move down. I tend, as you know, to look into these areas. And that would be a retest of the breakout level. And that would be like the sweet spot right in here. So Keep looks good in the sense that I bet it looks like it's about to start an uptrend potentially, but you want to buy the higher lows on uptrends, not the higher highs. So yeah, breakout, retest, and go. 25 cents looks good on Keep. Or is that an ETH pair? So it's like a quarter of an ETH, because I thought Keep was more expensive, but I don't know. Anyways, guys, that was great. And we've run almost 2 hours now. I can't believe that. It's been a crazy stream. Just seems like it flew by. Yeah, look at that. XRP's catching the bounce bug. Who else is bouncing? Can we get some bounces over here? Yep, we got a bounce. So this is kind of cool. I mean, this is why I just do this shit, guys. The sky, oh, no, don't want to change that. Sometimes it seems like the sky is falling, but you drop your little fib and you're just right in that zone where you should have been thinking buys. If you were trying to get like Bitcoin to the all-time highs, why not, wait for those dips and go. ETH is a weird one. It's not, it's not showing the same pattern as Bitcoin. I mean, I guess if you get closer up here, like I said, it is at that pump chaser zone. So maybe in a week I'll be like, damn it, I didn't long my own pump chaser zone, but it is in it if you draw it from this pivot, which is the last bullish market structure we had. So it's valid, right? That's actually how I chase these trends. Like, you got a low, you got a new high, you tested it. So that's now where I can draw the fib from. And this is your touch and go spot. Fuck it, let's unpack this thing. Are we going to get in there and see some bullish divergence? Whoops. Just before we wrap. Yeah, look at that. So we just want the MACD, but you can see the MACD, the moving average convergence and divergence indicator, known as the MACD, put in a higher low, even as price put in a lower low. So that's important information. That doesn't mean that's like a bottom. I still think overall this just looks kind of low time frame or midterm toppy, maybe for a week into the long weekend. But more to the point of like, why the hell would suddenly decide now I'm going to be a seller? Just doesn't make sense. Bullish divergence, pump chaser zone. If this confirms close below this level, you've got your new bearish market structure, and you could start to think about hunting this. Sorry, this chart is just suddenly gross, but so yeah, if I was going to be a scalper, I might be. I haven't decided. I haven't really looked at this, but yeah, this is this. So when I say like don't sell the dumps, wait for bounces, I mean, then you get the fib. Price should probably explore up into here. And now you can play with some size, right? Now you're shorting, you're risking to the high. That's the ticket. If you're dying to sell your ETH, wait for something like that. It'll happen eventually. It's already happened like 3 times on this chart in the last 3 days. In a downtrend. That's why I had this drawn up, because that's like your perfect entry. So you had this big, nasty sort of rejection candle. So you could be thinking, oh shit, that was a top. The contract got filled. They launched, sell the news thing. Maybe you're thinking, okay, cool. Draw that fib down to that dump. Hunt your asks here. Sure enough, filled. Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. Let's flip back over to the old studio. And yeah, what a grind, guys. 2 hours. I mean, we said at the beginning, we had lots to talk about today, and we played true to it. I'm just taking a look at my Binance. We'll see. We'll see about that BLZ long that I just got filled on, if I want to hold it or not. If we bounce here, which it very well looks like we may, then I just got a sick fill on a scalp long. But ultimately, I am waiting on those lower RLZ targets for something a little more dumpy. Maybe Bitcoin goes to all-time highs, and that causes the BTC pairs to dump. That would look like a bearish retest on the Bitcoin dominance. and then we take it down for the next few weeks. That's my goal. That's my plan. That's my hope. And that's what we call alt season, baby. So let's hope for that. We'll be on Twitter in the trading pit. So hit us up in there, Nick and myself. And until next time, guys, that's Friday afternoon. Just remember, always play from a position of strength. Take care, everybody.